Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking an absolutely unbelievable true story. We're talking about a full-blown urban wildlife crisis, where an entire city was suddenly placed under siege by a massive herd of highly aggressive wild boars. I mean, we've all come to expect the occasional natural disaster or, infrastructure failure in a major city, but this source material shows us exactly what happens when nature literally charges right through our front doors.
I really want you to just pause and imagine this terrifying scenario for a second. Picture your normal daily commute, or maybe that quiet neighborhood park you walk through, suddenly completely overrun. And we're not talking about a stray dog wandering into traffic here. We are talking about dozens of massive, aggressive animals charging through streets and residential neighborhoods. Most people would think an invasion of this scale is, well, completely impossible in a modern urban center. But as the source material reveals, they were dead wrong. Okay, let's dive into this and see exactly how this crisis unfolded. Section 1. The first call. How a perfectly normal morning turned into total chaos.
Right, so every crisis has to start somewhere, doesn't it? At exactly 7:12 a.m. on what seemed like a totally normal, quiet day, the very first emergency call came in. A resident spotted a massive wild boar just hanging out on the edge of town. Now, you might think, okay, that's just an isolated incident, but it wasn't. By 7:30 a.m., dispatchers were absolutely flooded with calls. It wasn't just one boar, it was an entire herd. And by 8:12 a.m., literally less than an hour later, social media absolutely exploded. People were posting panic-inducing videos of these giant boars sprinting across paved roads. A single sighting had snowballed into a citywide emergency, just like that.
Section 2. Panic in the streets. The city paralyzed by fear. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of the fallout, because it was severe. As the herd swarmed the urban center, the entire city was effectively paralyzed. We're talking about people on sidewalks literally running for cover, drivers slamming on their brakes to dodge these massive animals darting through active traffic, store owners were rushing in a state of absolute shock to lock their doors, and outside, heavy garbage bins were just tossed around like toys, and residential gardens were completely destroyed in a matter of minutes. The city had instantly become a danger zone.
Section 3. Formulating a strategy. Shifting from panic to strategic crisis management.
So, with roads abruptly closed and the city basically grinding to a halt, officials needed a fast strategic solution. The emergency responders faced a massive tactical dilemma. As the source material points out, you can't just run at these animals. Direct chasing was immediately ruled out because it would only make them far more aggressive, and no one wants an angry boar turning around to fight. Instead, they realized they had to outsmart the herd using animal psychology. They needed to engineer a guided exit to neutralize the threat safely. So the crucial point is how methodical their playbook was. Step 1, police systematically shut down the roads to contain the herd and, of course, protect drivers. Step 2, and this is a brilliant use of modern tech actually, they deployed drones to track the herd's movements from above. This gave them a real-time bird's-eye view of all the chaos. And finally, step 3, using that aerial intelligence, they began to gently redirect the boars toward an open corridor leading safely away from town. And you know what? The strategy was working perfectly. But, as is so often the case in high-stress emergency situations, then the plan fractured. Just as the main herd was successfully making its way toward that open, safe corridor away from the city, an unexpected and highly dangerous complication popped up and threw everything right back into chaos.
Section 4. The breakaway boar. The high-stakes climax at the shopping center.
Right when it seemed like the crisis was winding down and everyone could relax, one enormous, highly aggressive boar broke away from the main herd, and its target? A crowded shopping center. Guys, the extreme danger of this specific moment literally cannot be overstated. You have this panicked, incredibly powerful animal totally abandoning the exit route, and it's charging straight through a parking lot directly toward a highly populated retail area. The potential for serious human injury was suddenly at its absolute peak. The response to this had to be instantaneous. Emergency crews rushed directly into position. They rapidly deployed physical barriers between the charging animal and the terrified shoppers, and through incredibly careful, high-pressure coordination, the team managed to skillfully redirect the animal away from the crowd just in the nick of time. It was a heart-pounding final confrontation that relied entirely on the bravery and quick thinking of those first responders. Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 5.
A city saved, the return to normalcy.
Following that incredibly tense climax at the shopping center, the sun finally began to set on what was a truly chaotic day. The source notes this really poignant moment of immense relief when the very last wild boar officially crossed over the city limits. With the invasion over and the threat fully neutralized, the entire city breathed a collective sigh of relief. Families safely stepped back outside, local businesses finally unlocked their doors, the city was safe again. This wild, wild story serves as a really powerful lesson in urban emergency management. It proves that crises don't always look like severe storms or power outages. Sometimes they actually have tusks and run straight through traffic. It highlights the absolute necessity of calm, adaptable, and highly coordinated crisis response. So I want to leave you with one critical question to ponder today. If nature decided to charge through your front doors tomorrow, just how prepared is your city for the unexpected? Thanks for tuning into this explainer.